Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris is now on the Audacy app and Audacy.com.
Now, it's time for Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris. Here's your host, Greg Bicouvaris.
And welcome to our February edition of Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris on the Audacy app, wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube and social media. It's a pleasure now to talk to Joe D'Antonio, the commissioner of the CAA. Joe, good to talk to you.
Same here. Thank you so much for having me on.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And, of course, the CAA, just for people know, like I was a Mason graduate, we were called the Colonial Athletic Association back then. Now it's the Coastal. Tell us the reason for the name change.
You know, it was really no more than it was just part of our overall kind of rebranding initiative of the conference. We added 5 new members over a period of 2 years, and our board of directors felt that when you look at the configuration of the conference now, it really does stretch. If you include our football-only members, it stretches literally from Orono, Maine to Charleston, South Carolina. And we just felt as though it was a new beginning, a new era of the conference. Time for a new name, but we wanted to keep the logo. We liked the logo that we had, and we liked the branding of the CAA, which is what most people know us as. And as a result of that, felt as though going to the word coastal, which epitomized the conference literally being up and down the East Coast, and also allowing us to keep the CAA moniker, was the right move at the right time for the conference.
Not to mention, you're in several different states, Joe.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we go right up and down the East Coast, so we're in many different states. We're not centrally located in one state. We're all over the place.
Let's talk about the basketball season going on right now. Towson, Wilmington, and William Mary all having very good seasons, as well as COFC as well. Yeah,
so you've hit on it. It's a tremendous season so far. We have those 4 or 5 teams at the top. You know, certainly Towson, UNCW, College of Charleston, William and Mary, Campbell's in the mix. Hampton's won 5 in a row. So there's a lot of teams that are jockeying right now for that coveted 1 through 4 spot, because as you know, that's going to give you a double bye going into the tournament, and that's a really big deal.
Yeah, 9 schools right now as we speak have winning records. That's very impressive.
Speaks a lot. I appreciate you saying that, and it is impressive, and it speaks a lot to really the parity of the conference right now. We have several programs that last year had some down years and off years, I think, in their opinion. And those institutions have really stepped it up. And we have, those schools have shown significant improvement as we move into this year. And it's been exciting. We're playing an exciting brand of basketball right now in the CAA.
Talking to Joe D'Antonio, the commissioner of the CAA, and you look at the history of the tournament. When you think about the CAA, you think about television. Back in the day, they were on Home Team Sports, on various regional networks. They still brand themselves very well. How important is TV for you? Of course, in December, that was a big showcase moment on national TV on CBS when you had 2 of your schools competing right during a busy NFL weekend.
Yeah, we're so fortunate at the present time with the media rights deals that we have with our partners. So I'll just kind of run through them very quickly. Number 1, our streaming partner is Flow Sports, and they've been a tremendous partner for us. They've provided the flexibility for us to have what I consider to be the best mid-major media package in the country. That rolls right into our alignment and relationship and partnership with CBS Sports Network. This year, we'll have 24 regular season games on CBS Sports Network, which is, aside from the West Coast Conference with Gonzaga, is far and away the most of any mid-major conference in the country in terms of having games on national linear television. They'll also broadcast our men's basketball semifinals, men's basketball championship, as well as our women's basketball championship game. And you hit on a couple things. We've had a couple exciting, I would call one-off scenarios with CBS Sports Network this year. 2 games, and their HBCU Classic featuring both Hampton and North Carolina A&T, fortunate to win both of those games. And then we had 3 games back-to-back on Martin Luther King Day, which was really exciting for the conference. Opportunity to showcase great basketball, but also honor the legacy of Dr. King.
Yeah, the game in December in Hampton was on national TV, over the air on regular CBS. Same network carries that the NFL games and March Madness, of course, as well. So there's always growth in all over conferences. You see that in the Big Ten. You see it in the ACC. the CAA is no different. Where does it end, Joe? Is there a cap after a while?
I don't know if there's ever, per se, a cap or a final answer. I know that we're very comfortable right now. Delaware is going to be departing our membership to go join Conference USA and become a member of FBS football, and they've been a great member for a long time. We wish them the best. We can't offer FBS football, so we have something that they're interested in that we can't offer, but certainly wish them the best as they head out. That leaves us with 13 full members going into next year. I think we're really happy with the 13 members that we have, but we're going to continue to make decisions as we always do, whether it's in membership or in other categories that are in the best interest of the conference going forward, both from a longevity standpoint, a sustainability standpoint, and a competitive standpoint.
Let's get to one question before the break right here. For a lot of the fans out there and alumni and so forth, and it's been going on for a long time, explain how some schools can be CAA for football but not for basketball. Would you like eventually it all to be aligned, or is that just not realistic?
Yeah, I wouldn't use the word realistic. I would say to you it's not necessary. We're very fortunate right now that what we have is we have really two separate conferences that fall under the auspices of me as the commissioner. So we have the CAA football conference, and then we have the CAA, just the CAA conference. And the football conference going into next year will consist of 14 members. Out of those 14 members, 5 will be what we call football-only members. They're in the CAA just for football. And what we've been able to create is a very unique but also a very competitive environment for all 14 of those institutions. You can make an argument that top to bottom, it's the best FCS conference in Division I FCS. And we're really proud of that. And, FCS football is a little bit of a different animal. And as a result of that, you have to be able to ebb and flow and create things that work. And with the CAA football conference, that's exactly what we've been able to do.
Yeah, you got schools like Richmond and Villanova and so forth in there as well. All right, let's take a short break. We'll come back with part 2 of our interview with Joe D'Antonio, the commissioner of the CAA, after this. Matinee Art Gallery is hosting the William and Mary Senior Studio Art Capstone through March 21st. The reception is February 26th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Matinee Gallery in Williamsburg, where business, museum, sciences, and the regional gallery scene come alive. RSVP at matineegallery.com. That's matineegallery.com. At Mi Hogar Restaurant in Norfolk, they have Mexican pozole, chicken or pork soup. It is delicious at Mi Hogar. All right, connect with Greg Bicouvaris on Facebook, on YouTube at Greg Bic, that's GregBic. Our website is gjbtv.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn at Greg Bicouvaris. Connect with me on X at Greg Bic, GregBic. Of course, our show's on Audacy and wherever you get your podcast as well. Thank you. Buffalo Wild Wings in Newport News. Great lunch and dinner, late night at Buffalo Wild Wings. Delicious food, wings, appetizers, beverages, all the games on TV. Open 7 days a week. Like Buffalo Wild Wings on Facebook. Friendly and hardworking staff. Jefferson Avenue in Newport News by Patrick Henry Mall. Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris is now on the Audacy app and Audacy.com. Welcome back to part 2 of the interview with the CAA Commissioner, brought to you by Mongolian Grill, the new restaurant coming in Virginia Beach as well, right there at Salem Crossing. Joe, let's talk about women's sports and how healthy are they right now in the CAA?
Well, I think they're very healthy. We take great pride in all of our programs, including our women's programs, and certainly a showcase of dedicated coaches, dedicated student athletes, and we certainly care deeply about how our women's sports are doing.
Very nice, very nice. And, of course, spring sports are always great, tennis programs or the different variety of sports. And talk about the total number of sports right now in the CAA.
We're offering 21 championships, and you are correct. It's an exciting period of time right now. We talked about basketball in the first segment of the interview, but we also have, just coming up here in the next couple of days, we have our indoor track championship, always an exciting event. We have our swimming championship, and if you've never had a chance to go to a swimming championship, you should take advantage of that opportunity because the energy in the building for that championship event is really tremendous. The parents bring a lot of effort and energy to it, as well as the student athletes, obviously with their performances. So those are on the horizon. We'll roll that into our basketball championships, and as you articulated, we're already into spring now, right? Baseball's playing, softball's playing, tennis is playing, men's and women's lacrosse, golf. So there's a lot happening at the present time. We call it the crossover time, and this is certainly a busy period of time for all of our schools and the conference office.
Yeah, it's a great spring to engage for alumni as well, faculty, staff, students to attend some of these sporting events outdoors as well when the weather definitely warms up. Of course, talk about, once again, the tournament sites for basketball. Over the years, especially the men, they've been in Hampton, they've been in Richmond for decades, they've been in the Southeast, they've been in the District of Columbia. Talk about the future for both tournament sites for the men and the women for basketball.
Well, what we have right now, we're going into our second year at what is now called Care First One Arena in Washington, D.C. It's where the Washington Mystics play. It's a WNBA arena. And for our second year in a row now, we'll have both our men's and women's basketball tournament at that neutral site location. We don't play the tournaments simultaneously. We play them back-to-back, which I think is important in my mind because it allows us to showcase and prioritize each tournament individually, so that the men have their period of time and the women have their period of time to be showcased. What I like about the arena is it's a basketball-centric arena. Being a WNBA facility, the folks there know how to help us put on a top-notch basketball event and provide a great experience for our student athletes, administrators, and coaches. So it's in the nation's capital. It's a great venue, and it's an opportunity for our fans to come into Washington and enjoy the sights and scenery of Washington, D.C., and also see some great basketball.
Right. It gives a chance for the alumni and the students and the staff of the CAA to process to get through the men's tournament. That's an ordeal. And then the women's, too, because those are really the two big showcase events. If somebody doesn't go to anything else, they go to the tournament, they've done really well because those tournaments are not easy to run.
No, we're very fortunate. We don't have a big staff, but we're very fortunate to have a very competent staff and a staff that's very knowledgeable in the running of basketball tournaments, and that's what allows us to work with the folks at Events DC that manage the building to put on two great events.
Joe, talk about the most you can about the NIL and of course the payment of players. I mean, it seemed like decades ago, if anybody paid a player, a donor, I mean, it shut down programs. It just seemed like it just dropped out of the sky a few years ago, and a lot of people that don't follow sports that often are still very confused by this, especially at the big schools. You know, when you talk about the Big Ten or the ACC or the SEC, just for an example, it just seemed like it just came out of nowhere. And like, what happened? Because the NCAA was so strict for all these decades.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I think the best way that I can answer it is things in life change. The more things change sometimes, the more they stay the same. You can say that as well. But this is just a moment in time. It's a moment in time in the history of college athletics where the industry as a whole is going through significant change. And those institutions, conferences, and entities that are going to be successful are those that are able to adapt to the change and embrace it and understand that even though change can sometimes be difficult, it doesn't mean you can just close your eyes to it and look the other way. You have to be able to manage not only your life but your business in ways that allow you to adapt to the change and manage and handle the things that go along with it. So that's the model that we're operating in the CAA. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, but you have to be able to ebb and flow with the times, and we're certainly in a new era right now of college athletics.
Definitely, and of course, wrapping it up, every conference, especially mid-majors, want multiple teams in. It's definitely happened before in the CAA in the past, but not that often. Even the Atlantic 10, you guys are very well aligned geographically. What does it take? And of course, after the NCAA tournament, there's the NIT and other smaller type tournaments. I know Fox is doing their own tournament this year as well, but it seems like there's still definitely growth for the smaller tournaments too, besides the NCAA.
Well, certainly it's a goal every year that we're trying to be as successful as we can in both men's and women's basketball. Whether or not the CAA gets or doesn't get two teams into the NCAA tournament is not a dictator of whether or not we've had a successful season or not. There's so much more that goes into what defines a successful season. Certainly, 2 teams in either one of those tournaments would be very much welcomed, and it'd be very exciting. But if it doesn't happen, one of the things that we also pride ourselves on is where are our teams seated in the tournament? And with the quality of play that we're having right now in the CAA, we remain optimistic as we move into March that if we are indeed a one-bid league, we have hopes that we can have a 13 or 14 seed, maybe even a 12 seed, depending on how things flush out and who wins our tournament. But if you're in that 12, 13, 14 range, that gives you a chance to win a game and hopefully have your team advance. And that's obviously another goal that we have in addition to trying to reach that goal of multiple bids. But again, I want to caution everyone that that's not the definition of what a successful season is. It's certainly nice if it happens, but there's so much more to look at by ways of success than just that one metric.
Yep, exactly. These are student athletes, men and women competing hard for their school. And, of course, it does take money, sponsorship, folks. Most of the people listening are from one of the CAA schools in that region, the various states as well. So it does take time, talent, and treasure from people on campus and off campus and people like the CAA to make it all work. Joe, thank you so much. Give us a parting shot and a final thought.
Well, final thought for me would be I continue to be extremely blessed to have the job that I have. There aren't many jobs in the country that you can go to work every day and have the ability to positively impact the lives of young men and young women. And when you boil it right down, college athletics, and you mentioned this a few minutes ago, has certainly become a business. But you need to separate the fact that there's nothing more important than what our coaches, administrators, and even us at the conference office are doing every day. And that's trying to have a positive impact on the lives of young men and young women to hopefully put them in a position someday to be able to lay the foundation to achieve their goals and dreams. And when you boil it right down, that's really what this is all about. And hopefully in the CAA we're succeeding with that because I really think we are.
Absolutely. Joe, all the best to you and your staff and an exciting March ahead as well for the tournaments, but also for spring sports too.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the time today.
I look forward to talking to you again. Joe D'Antonio, the commissioner of the CAA, doing a great job. All the best to him in his future as well. Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris will continue after these messages. Matinee Art Gallery is hosting the William & Mary Senior Studio Art Capstone through March 21st. The reception is February 26th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Matinee Gallery in Williamsburg, where business, museum, sciences, and the regional gallery scene come alive. RSVP at matineegallery.com. That's matineegallery.com.
Mi Hogar is your restaurant for the finest Mexican cuisine in Hampton Roads. At Mi Hogar, everything is prepared fresh in a casual and comfortable atmosphere. Enjoy traditional favorites such as quesadillas, tacos, burritos, and fajitas, as well as refreshing beverages. Mi Hogar is located at 4201 Granby Street and is a tradition in Norfolk. Call 640-7705 and log on to MiHogarMexicanRestaurant.com. At Mi Hogar, there's something for everyone.
Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville and Virginia Beach open daily for lunch and dinner. Mike and the staff will take good care of you. Burgers, steaks, salads, appetizers, desserts, and much more. Great atmosphere, a nice bar, spacious dining room. 1255 Fordham Drive in Virginia Beach.
So, what's Greg's problem?
I'm very mad!
God, I'm so mad right now!
I know you're mad. I know you're upset.
It's time for What Tees Greg Off.
All right, Kenny, one of our favorite segments, What Tees Me Off, right here by the New Mongolian Grill in Salem Crossing in Virginia Beach. Having to stand for multiple hours, really doing nothing but pacing and standing.
It's not good for you either because all the blood pools into your legs.
Driving in any precipitation. This area is known for people not able to drive in the rain, let alone the snow, sleet, or anything else.
Forget about it.
Whatever happened to the backup rule? Allow time so you won't do a fender bender with your neighbor there.
The 3-second rule. Nobody does the 3-second rule.
You need a 7 to 10 second rule in the tunnel, though. How about this? You know, we had the snow delay here recently. I get it. But the cities all should let people know that their trash is definitely being delayed into the following week as well.
Sometimes they don't know. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Right, but they need to let us know it's going to be delayed into the following week, though. There
Communication.
You go. What tees you off?
What doesn't tee me off?
Right.
That's the big question. AI assistance. When you go to a website, you're looking for customer service, press this button. You press chat. Hello, I'm idiot. I'm your AI assistant. And finally, no sugar added. You see that? You think, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. First ingredient, corn syrup. That it kind of defeats the purpose, don't you think?
Kenny, we can all relate to this. We're having a good day. All of a sudden in the afternoon in your car, the service engine light comes on. And then you take it to a place, we'll say one of those type auto parts stores, and they say it's the catalytic converter or something. So you add Cataclean, you add gum out, and after a few days it goes out. But that service engine light causes a lot of drama.
Stress. I see the service engine light. It should say go to your gastroenterologist because you're going to get an ulcer.
Exactly. And that's what tees me off.
Mi Hogar is your restaurant for the finest Mexican cuisine in Hampton Roads. At Mi Hogar, everything is prepared fresh in a casual and comfortable atmosphere. Enjoy traditional favorites such as quesadillas, tacos, burritos, and fajitas, as well as refreshing beverages. Mi Hogar is located at 4201 Granby Street and is a tradition in Norfolk. Call 640-7705 and log on to MiHogarMexicanRestaurant.com. At Mi Hogar, there's something for everyone.
Sakura Sushi Bar is now open in Virginia Beach. For one-of-a-kind dining experience, Sakura in Red Mill is a favorite of locals and tourists. Tasty sushi prepared fresh for you, as well as delicious entrees from the kitchen. This is the go-to place for sushi lovers. Enjoy lunch and dinner daily with some refreshing cocktails and adult beverages. Sakura Sushi Bar is located at 2137 Upton Drive and is open daily. Call 757-522-7288 and enjoy your next meal at Sakura Sushi Bar at Red Mill Commons.
Sakura Japanese Restaurant in Chesapeake is your destination for excellent Japanese food, featuring fresh sushi and hot dishes prepared in the kitchen for lunch and dinner. Sakura is located at 1437 Sam's Drive at the Walmart Way Crossing. Oh Yummy Sushi is at the Renaissance Place at 401 North Great Neck Road in Virginia Beach. Both Sakura in Chesapeake and Oh Yummy Sushi in Virginia Beach are available with DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and Pickup. Tasty Japanese food the way you want it is at Sakura and Oh Yummy Sushi.
Matinee Art Gallery is hosting the William & Mary Senior Studio Art Capstone through March 21st. The reception is February 26th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Matinee Gallery in Williamsburg, where business, museum, sciences, and the regional gallery scene come alive. RSVP at matineegallery.com. That's matineegallery.com. And welcome to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris, available on the Audacy app, on YouTube, and all over social media. So glad to be joined by George McClain, a regular right here on Sports Scene. George, how are you?
I'm doing well, Greg. How about yourself?
Very good as we head into March here. And, of course, the Marksman is at 520 Industrial Park in Newport News. That's Industrial Park Drive. The phone number is 872-4130, area code 757. Like them on Facebook, and, of course, their Google all over on their website. You can find it very easily by just typing the Marksman in Newport News. And, of course, George, a shooting range as well. How is that going, first of all?
Well, we're staying fairly full here in the last few weeks. I think a little bit, breaking the weather, so that always helps. People get back out of the house. Then we had the snowstorm, so we lost a few days last week. But overall, it's been very well.
Very good, very good. Let's start off with that tragedy, George. You talk about an ambush at its worst. 2 Virginia Beach police officers. It's bad enough anybody gets wounded on the job, yet alone killed. These are 2 young guys just starting their careers for the most part and really just trying to make a name for themselves and give back to the community.
Well, yes. I mean, it doesn't get much worse than that. The bad side of it is, public perception of how law enforcement conducts themselves to a bad degree. I mean, this drives, I think, a lot of upper management, law enforcement officers, and city managers, mayors, and whatever, to try to get their operation manuals to where the cops look like the nice guy all the time. But that's what gets officers killed. It's a two place thing. The officers kind of over a period of time tend to get complacent, especially if they haven't been challenged with this type of deal. The only way that you can really be 100% sure that you can increase your chances of going home tonight is that you have to treat every traffic stop the same. That you've got basically a hand on the firearm, or you've got backup. Virginia Beach now has dictated that they have two officers, together, and I think of several other departments are doing the same thing, to where you always have a backup. But you have to assume that when you approach this driver, this car, driver, if they got passengers in the car, that you're going to get shot. And if you don't prepare yourself for that mentally, chances are you're going to get shot, because what the bad guy wants to do is, act like nice, get you to drop your guard, and then, as in this case, he pulls a gun and starts shooting, and he shot both of them. And that's just you might say, well, that's a hell of a way to think about it. But, if you want to go home tonight and be with your wife and kids, that is how you have to think about it.
Exactly. And you can never let your guard down at all, George. No matter where you go in public, whether it's morning, afternoon, or night, armed or not armed, you cannot let your guard down.
No, I agree 100%, and that's the whole thing. But if cops did that every day, every time they stop someone, even for speeding, well, okay, it doesn't matter why you're being stopped. In this case, the guy was getting stopped because he had expired license plate, I think, on the car. So that's kind of a non-violent kind of, okay, well, the guy didn't put his stickers on there, whatever, we'll stop and see if he's got him in the car. If we do, we'll put him on the license plate for him. Well, in this case, it cost them, their lives. So, we always want to tend to think of the lower level deal. This is going to be, I don't know what we call it in Air Force days, or the combat days. You call it a milk run, where that meant that your chances are you're not going to get shot down. The bad guy's not shooting at you today. What winds up, you wind up getting shot down. Same kind of a deal. You've got to just be on your toes every time. But if we did that, then the whole public's going to be showing, this guy all he did was run a red light, or run a stop sign, and this cop's got his hand on his gun, getting ready to shoot this dude. And you see those kinds of headlines all the time. I really get sick and tired of reading about all this crap. Let the guys do what they they're law enforcement. They're not going to go out there and shoot somebody just because they had a bad day and they want to go shooting somebody. They got their guns to that's self-defense. They're to protect themselves and to protect innocent bystanders. If somebody else is shooting at them or whatever the deal is, that they have to subdue the bad guy. But it's these leftist liberals that would just assume that we're all going to hide under a rock someplace and let the bad guys take over the country. God forbid they have any of their so-called rights infringed upon, because they're the ones that's out causing all the commotion with shooting up or robbing or raping or doing whatever the hell that they plan on doing. It just it drives me nuts, that they hear some of these verbal attacks just on the police departments.
Absolutely. Talking to George McClain from The Marksman right here on Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris on the Audacy app, wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and all over social media. And, of course, let's take it closer to home right there in York County in January, where we're not going to mention any names here, but the former bank manager of a bank right there on 17 had his third DUI. This is a former branch manager at a bank, had his third DUI, and, of course, tried to hit officers with his vehicle. They had to bust his window out to get him out. He's a former bodybuilder, maybe still is. And, of course, right there during the afternoon, George, right across from a high school. I mean, that's as bad as it gets.
Somebody once said that you can't fix stupid. Mm-mm. And some of these people are just stupid. Someone with a third DUI, he's got a deeper problem. Probably an alcoholic, number one. So it's not just a random deal. He went to some Christmas parties and wound up having to drink too many. This guy's got a deeper seated problem than that. And it needs to be dealt with before somebody gets killed and before he kills somebody because he runs them over, with his car or whatever. But he's probably, he could be sitting at his desk right now, looking forward to listening to this broadcast. You never know.
Absolutely. But it just shows you it's not about the gun, it's about the weapon, whether it's a hammer, a sledgehammer, a knife, a vehicle, they're all a stick, whatever it is. It's about the person holding that weapon. Absolutely, without question. It's always the gun that gets it gets blamed for it, but does the vehicle get blamed for it? It's kind of like if you're driving a car and you're running into a crowd. I've never seen the vehicle get blamed for it. It's always been the driver. So how come if you got a bad guy that's modified a 223 and you're shooting it from a high-rise hotel room in Las Vegas and raining down upon everyone that's in the parking lot down below? Why is it the gun? As in the case with the analogy being the vehicle, why is the gun getting the blame versus the guy up there that's pulling the trigger? It's however the liberal media wants to try to slant and spin to whatever they happen to be against. And still, even right now, most are against firearms, although I have to say with this, the new administration, there's some serious changes going on, changes at the top of ATF. So I think we're going to see some significant changes in handgun laws and self-defense for concealed carry for self-defense. Issue in Virginia is that we have a Democratic House and Senate. Saving grace for that is that we have a Republican governor. So if they get too far out of hand, he'll obviously veto whatever legislation he can to keep things in line. This year is going to be an interesting year. Of course, it does take a village to protect everybody. We rely on our police and the Virginia State Police and the military and so forth, but be vigilant, folks. Tell us what's coming up, anything new at the Marksman for March? No, we're just trying to do the transition from wintertime in the spring, and keep stocked up on firearms, different types. Our concealed classes are pretty heavily booked. So if you're looking at getting a concealed permit, or if it's been a while, you may have had your concealed permit. It may still have it, but if you haven't been a bookworm and kept up on law changes over the years. You may want to get yourself booked into one of our classes because we cover a lot of that very, very heavily. So even though you don't need the permit, just getting the education could be very beneficial to a lot of folks. But if you want to do that, I'd advise you go ahead and call and get scheduled, because right now we're kind of a month or two down the road as far as bookings. So that part's staying fairly busy. Yep, always be prepared, folks, whether you go into a store or anywhere, and the Marksman can get you prepared for self-defense at 520 Industrial Park Drive in Newport News. Phone number 757-872-4130. Like them on Facebook. Go by and see Sherry and the wonderful staff. They'll take good care of you from the moment you walk in. George, all the best, and we look forward to talking to you very soon. All right, Greg. You take care. Stay safe. My pleasure. Always great to talk to George McClain. Stay tuned.
A tradition of excellence for over 50 years is the Aberdeen Barn Steakhouse in Virginia Beach. Start your experience off with she crab soup, an assortment of appetizers such as the fried oyster Rockefeller, crispy calamari, just to name a few. Aberdeen Barn has the finest premium steaks, prime rib, grilled tomahawk ribeye, seafood, chicken, pasta dishes, and live music in a most pleasing atmosphere. Open daily. Visit them at 5805 Northampton Boulevard in Virginia Beach. Call 464-1580 and log on to aberdeenbarn.net.
Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, open in Yorktown. Go by and see Paul and his wonderful staff. High quality chicken fingers, fries, coleslaw, Texas toast. It is delicious. The great chicken sandwich, cane sauce, a kids menu, refreshing beverages, tailgates. They've got it all. Follow Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers on social media. They are open daily. I want to thank our guests today, Joe D'Antonio, the commissioner of the CAA, and George McClain. For more, log on to gjbtv.com. Click on the YouTube link. Greg Bick is the YouTube channel, Greg
BIC, subscribe as well. Sports Scene is available in the Audacy app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all over social media, and wherever you get your podcast. For Ken Carson, I'm Greg Bicouvaris. Thanks for listening to our February edition of Sports Scene 2025, and we'll talk to you soon.
You've been listening to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris.